What's up, guys? It's Ryan Weimer with Offer Now Idaho. I'm here with Marcos, Senior Acquisition Manager. We're gonna do a little impromptu interview here to Marcos. Now that you've been with us for over a year. Crazy how fast time has flown.
Yes.
Talk about some of your accomplishments, some things you've learned. Talk about your most impactful moment here at Offer Now Idaho so far.
I think the most impactful thing that's happened so far is genuinely knowing that if we put a promise in front of someone, that promise is fulfilled. Because there's a lot of people that have skepticism or doubt regarding what we do, or they think it's a scam. And so that trust piece of saying, if I make this promise to you, it's gonna happen, and they believe that, internalize it, and then it comes to fruition, that's the most impactful there, where we can make promises we can keep.
When you're meeting with a homeowner, how often do you see that that's not the case? Meaning they meet with somebody else, another investor, or somebody that has talked to them. What are some of the things that you hear?
Most of the time you hear people talk about how many calls and texts they get, and they don't know which direction to turn. So they don't know what call to take, what text to respond to, so they just get paralysis and don't reach out to anyone. I see that quite often. And then realistically, most people, when they transact in real estate, they just give it to an agent and just take their hands off the wheel and hope the agent has their back and supports them. So when it comes to providing ease and convenience to people, they feel like that's something that can't be true. They're like, there's no way it can be that easy. And I'm like, it really can be. And it is. It's just a matter of developing trust in a relationship.
Got it. Now, yeah, in a day and age where, just this morning I've already gotten 5 spam calls. And if people are getting a bunch of texts, they don't know who to trust, right? And everything kind of seems more and more like a scam. What are some things that you found really set Offer Now Idaho apart when you're having those conversations about building trust and avoiding all the other scams that can be out there?
Sure. Yeah, I think the biggest piece there is there's an identity behind the brand, right? There's recognition with title companies, there's an online presence, there's reviews. We come in a uniform, so we have a card, we have a shirt, all these types of things. I think the biggest piece to all of that is just the relationship that you take time to build, right? As much as you're there to do your job and make $1, that's a secondary thing. If you just take your hat off for a second and just talk to a person exactly where they're at, when they feel that that personal relationship has begun to be built, then you can go professional. So I think, the first 5 to 10 minutes I'm talking to any seller, I don't talk about anything work related whatsoever. I just ask them about them.
Do you think that that's something that can be taught, or is that something inside of you that you genuinely care about somebody else, even if we're not the best fit or whatever? I'm curious where that comes from.
Yeah, it's a competition thing, where in previous roles, my competition wasn't my coworkers, my competition was the valley I worked in. In a previous role, there was a lot of similar businesses within a 3 or 4 mile stretch. So being the most competent with what you're doing is important, but also I think just actually understanding that if you just slow down a little bit with people and just make a friend before you do anything, that's gonna, no matter how it turns out, you can't walk away from that situation in a negative. Just make a friend first.
Talk to me about your most impactful seller moment.
There's a couple of them that come to mind immediately. The most recent one that took place was the Olympus Court seller. She was in her early 70s, working 2 jobs. She was working at Walmart and working at a Jackson gas station. She was making minimum wage at both jobs, and she had no retirement left. She had nothing really to her name, and she wanted to get away from that lifestyle and enjoy the rest of her time. And so when she reached out to us, we got a hold of her same day. We were there a couple hours later. The front yard and everything about the property looks really nice. It's in a nice neighborhood. The yard looks great. She has some lights along the facade of the home and things like that. But what was interesting is when I got to the home, usually the homeowner opens the door and allows me in. She opened the door, walked out, and shut the door behind her right away. So I was like, okay, that's something that's interesting. We had the conversation outside of getting to know each other, and I proposed that I needed to take some pictures so that we know what we're getting into. She got really nervous, and you could tell that was gonna be a big point of contention for her. And when you walk into the home, she inherited it from her mom 12 years ago. Whether it was anxiety or stress or depression, she just completely stopped taking care of the inside of the property. So there's debris up to my hips. I'm walking through all sorts of stuff in the home. And so to know that she actually can get the restart that she wanted, and be able to close the door on that chapter of her life and have closure to move forward, that's a really nice one to know. I can go to bed at night and I actually helped that person get to a spot that was important to them.
That's incredible. I think a lot of people, they talk about cashing financial paychecks. There's an element in this role of cashing a fulfillment paycheck, right? When you're able to really impact someone's life for future, not just for now, but for future generations. What does that do to your cup? Does that, when it's 8 p.m. on a weekday and there's a lead that comes in of somebody that needs help, does that give you the extra oomph that you need to go attack it?
It does, because I understand that if I don't introduce myself into that circumstance, I don't know if their circumstance gets better, and I'd rather, it's the adage of if you want a job done right, do it yourself. So I'd be very happy to go help someone if they're in a bad spot and they're suffering a bit.
How about something about you that people don't usually know or you don't usually tell? The more interesting, the better.
I've had 2 amateur careers, one in skateboarding, one in competitive video gaming. I was Math Student of the Year 3 times, 3rd grade, 7th grade, and 11th grade. I certainly have, if you were to look at my name on the Idaho repository, you would see that I got in substantial trouble when I was a youngster, which was the catapult to my adult life. Mother was 15 when I was born. I mean, there's all sorts of fun things we could talk about.
What's been the best part of our company culture that's different from other places you've worked?
The fact that leadership cares. The employees can come in and cash their checks or do the bare minimum to get by, but I genuinely feel like with the structure that we have, that leadership is concerned and cares about improvement and retention. And the vision is great of what we do, and I completely get behind it, but really it's a matter of knowing that leadership cares. And for me, I can handle the rest with that.
A lot of companies will say they care. How do you know if someone actually cares?
I value speed of communication. If something is important to me or to you or to anyone, they'll have urgency in getting that done. For instance, if you're not a morning person, but all of a sudden someone says there's $3 million at the top of Table Rock and you need to be there at 4:30 in the morning, if it's important enough, you're gonna get up and be on that mountain, right? And so I think the urgency and communication and the adaptability, that right there, it's not the words, it's the actions that I see.
So you're a year in now. What's been something that has really surprised you about your first year that you weren't expecting, that has been incredibly beneficial or has given you energy?
How many people need help? You would be shocked, you would never see it if you walk past them at church or in a grocery store or anything like that. But you don't really know how many people are actually in a spot where they have nowhere to turn and they don't know where to start, right? So being able to come in and actually carve a path for them and carve a river they can go down, that takes some of that burden off of them. I had no idea there were this many people that needed help.
Because you're meeting with an average of 2 to 3 homeowners a day, anywhere from usually 5 to 6, sometimes 7 days a week.
40 to 50 people a month, really.
I mean, that's a lot of people. Is there a specific seller situation maybe that you weren't able to help that comes to mind where you couldn't quite get them to be ready to receive help? Or they weren't ready to take control of their circumstances, and how do you handle that?
That's a common theme with foreclosure leads, where folks seem as if they're waiting for an outside source to come and save them from their circumstances, and so they will absolve themselves of responsibility of taking control of their financial situation. So it really just kind of shocks me when you articulate what happens through an auction process and a foreclosure process, and people go,
Personally, those are the hardest ones for me emotionally, because a lot of people go down with the ship and they end up getting foreclosed on, and the bank takes everything and they lose everything, and some of them do end up homeless. And sometimes we want so desperately for someone to want to receive help, but given stress, depression, external factors, a lot of people can just be paralyzed by fear and they just freeze and they do nothing. That has definitely taken an emotional toll on me, but knowing that we're actually out there trying, right? For every one person that goes down with the ship, there's also usually at least 1 or 2 other people that are ready to be helped.
Yeah, and I can go to bed knowing that I genuinely showed up with the intention to help to the best of my ability, and whatever that seller decided to do, I don't carry that with me home because I know that my heart was in the right place when I spoke to him.
And see, a lot of people don't know this because a lot of other companies don't do this. But specific with foreclosure leads, when we meet with a foreclosure, we talk to them about getting a loan modification. Mm-hmm. We help them in that process if that's what it takes so they can keep their home. We're not in there saying, hey, you're in a bad position, let me get the property under contract right now. It starts with, what can we do to keep your home? If that's what you want, here are some options for you, here's how we can help you do that. A lot of times we end up with our contract as the plan B, and plan A is the loan modification, is the personal loan, is fixing it up and getting a renter in there. That's definitely something I'm most proud of, is whatever people want, like we have the solution for them, even if we don't directly benefit, because we know the more people that we help, what do you know? Of course, the more contracts we get.
Absolutely, and I think to take that a step further as well, as we talk about, do you want to keep the home? Okay. Do you want to keep the equity? No. You do have bankruptcy as an option, and I tell people that, like if none of these options work out, like you can file bankruptcy, which doesn't benefit us, but if someone wants to know all of their options, that's an option.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, you can do that.
What has you most excited in the coming year?
Oh man, I'm still very much not a master of my industry yet. And I love that, because I know that complacency isn't going to set in any time soon, right? Now, the ability to speak with people and to break them down and to build a trusting relationship, like that's just maybe a gift that I was given. But just knowing there's so many different avenues to go down with real estate and how you can help people and the way that you articulate these things. Like neuro-linguistic programming is very important to me, and the words that you use and how you use them is very important. So I think coupling the language you use with industry knowledge to help people, I love that.
All right, guys, that does it for this little session with Marcos. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.